Happy New Year! Pop quiz. We'll see if you paid attention from last time. Is it still Christmas? Yes or no? If you answered no, you are, congratulations, a schismatic heathen. I'm just kidding. If you answered yes, you are correct. It is still Christmas. We talked about the 12-day feast that Christmas traditionally was, and we are now celebrating the honeymoon, so to speak, of the union, the marriage of heaven and earth in this 12-day feast. So if that is the case, then what does this make today? If December 24th, the evening, was the night of Christ's birth, December 25th, day 1, what does that make today? That makes today day 8. It's the 8th day since Christ was born. And what does that mean? Think about it. What would have taken place today if Christ was born on December 25th? 8 days later, according to Jewish law, if you know your Bible, just playing, he would have been circumcised as an infant. Christ would have been circumcised today on the 8th day. Now, it's actually beautiful and significant that it falls on the day of the new year for us in our calendar. And we'll explain why. The circumcision of the infant, first of all, it's the first time in the case of Christ, it's the first time that Christ shed his blood for us. Now, it wasn't a substitutionary or sacrificial bloodshed, but it was an anticipatory one. It was a foreshadow of the bloodshed to come. Because the circumcision of the firstborn in Jewish law signified the cutting off, the cutting away of the old creation, the cutting off of the flesh, the cutting off of the old man, of Adam, and the revealing of the new man, the second-born son. The firstborn is cut away, the firstborn being Adam, and now a newborn son has been revealed. And that is Christ, the second Adam, the last Adam, the new Adam. And so the circumcision was a cutting off of the old and a starting a glory of the new, a revealing of the new. Now, the reason why that takes place on the 8th day is because creation, if you recall, took 7 days. 6 days God labored to form creation and fill it. And on the 7th day he rested and made it holy. The 7th day being the completion of the first creation. So what does that mean? The 7th day ends the first creation. The 8th day begins a new creation week, the new week. And so that is why on the 8th day, the infants were circumcised to signify the cutting away of the old creation, which was the formation of the temple of God. That's what creation is. But mankind defiled it with sin, and so it has to be cut away now. Blood has to be shed. The flesh, the foreskin of the flesh needs to be cut away, circumcised. And Colossians 2 even tells us and connects these things. It tells us that Christ's death on the cross was a circumcision of the human race. And Christ's literal circumcision as an infant was a foreshadowing of that, of the circumcision of Adam from the human race, of the circumcision and the cutting away of sin from the human race, the cutting away of all that is old, of all that is past, of all that was dead, and the revealing of all that is alive, the revealing of the true glory of the true Adam, the true man, the new man, Christ. And how fitting is it? This is something that I've talked to my friend Timothy about. I posted on it before. But how fitting is it that our new year falls exactly on that day, the day of the new creation, and it's the day of a new year, where we can circumcise the old year, cut it away, cut it off, and begin anew. Now here's the thing, the only reason why we are able to do that, the only reason we can even cut away the old and start anew, the only reason we can start afresh is not because we make a resolution. It's not because we can make a decision to start fresh. People do that the world over and will still remain in corruption. No, the reason why we as Christians have a claim to start a new creation, to start a new life, to start a new year fresh, is not because of us, it's because of Christ. It's because he was circumcised. It's because he shed his blood, first as an infant, as a precursor, as a foreshadow of the shedding of blood on the cross. And there's many parallels, by the way, between Christ's birth and his death. But we can go into that some other time. For now, I just wanted to emphasize this beautiful timetable that God has ordained, that has fallen to our calendar, where on the 8th day of Christ's birth, upon his circumcision, we are given a sign of what he is to do ultimately on the cross. And we can start a new year by embracing what Christ has done and by recognizing that only because of Christ's cutting away of the old creation, the cutting away of the flesh, only when we cut away and circumcise the flesh can we participate in the new life and in the new creation. Now, here's a cool connection. Do you remember when Moses was on his way to Egypt after being called and commissioned by God? And the Lord met him on the way and sought to kill him, and Zipporah, his wife, circumcised their son. And then she said this, she said, "You are a bridegroom of blood to me." Why does she call the circumcision of the son the bridegroom of blood? Because it is a picture of the marital union that circumcision signified, which Christ fulfilled. That when God became man, when he married himself to us by becoming flesh and uniting heaven and earth, that marriage of God and man, of heaven and earth, upon his birth, was confirmed upon his circumcision as an infant. Christ is the true bridegroom of blood for us. The one who sheds his blood, who cuts away the old in order to make way for a new union. If you've watched my videos, my second episode, I mentioned that I discuss how covenant is union. In the third episode, I talk about how covenant is not only union, but covenant is actually a cutting, a dividing, in order to make way for a new union. That is the purpose of covenant in the Bible, is to cut and then to reform in a glorified way. That is what Christ has done for us on the cross. And it was signified and foreshadowed today as an infant. Knowing this, knowing what God has done for us, knowing that because of his work, we can truly have and be a new creation and a new year. Happy New Year. God bless you and merry 8th day of Christmas. Enjoy the rest of the feast.